Welcome to another episode of Moments with Nyengeterai. Thank you so much for watching and for tuning in. And I just want to say thank you to the community. The comments have been so amazing. I'm actually shocked, and I'm really, really excited about where we're going as Moments, because the ideas you've sent in, the people that you want to see, we're going to get them all to come in, and we're going to ask them the questions that you've sent through. And I'm really, really excited about where we're going. So today, I have a very exciting guest. I mean, this interview was supposed to happen, then didn't happen, then it was supposed to happen, then didn't happen. So much has been going on, but I'm finally happy that she's here today. And I don't know what to call her, but maybe Tendai, Sokostina, Queen Monkey, I don't know.
Rebranded to Queen Kong.
Oh, Queen Kong now.
That had to be the biggest monkey in the jungle.
Oh, not... Welcome.
Thank you so much, Nyenge, for welcoming me. I've been watching. So I was like, wow. When you said, please come, I was like, why? Why? I have no story to tell, but I guess we all have something to say.
No, everybody has a story. Everybody has a life lesson. And I think all of us can learn from someone else's story, or, yeah. So I really believe I really believe that
Really believe that me and become nothing.
I really believe that we all have a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I think introduce yourself to our viewers, because I know you.
I know.
People know you as
okay, so
who's Tendai? I think let's start.
I was born Tendai Garwe on the 7th of November, 1982. So recently turned 41. And then somewhere, fast forward, I went to see my friend Maureen in Stellenbosch in 2009. And God gave me another name, Wenyasha. So that's where Tendai Wenyasha Garwe comes from. And then, of course, in my upbringing, I realized that my totem is Soko. So when I went on air, I stole it actually. My cousin had called herself Moyostina, and it wasn't rhyming. Then I said, no, let's use Sokostina. And then from then, I took up Sokostina, and I even trademarked it. Yes, I'm in the book of trademarks, so you can't just use Sokostina to make money. I can sue you. Yes, one of the few trademarked names in Zimbabwe. And then I needed Sokostina the Queen Monkey. So at first I was the Queen Monkey, and the Queen Monkey went on for a while, and then I introduced the Queen Kong, because there were now too many monkeys, but they all had to know who was the ultimate. And the Kong, nothing beats the Kong. So Tendi, I grew up on a farm. That was my whole life. I moved from farm to farm in the Ada system. My father was a farmer, and my mother was my father's assistant. So I was born in a family of 3. I'm a middle child, so I'm hectic. So I've got an older sister and a younger brother, but majority of my life I grew up in Manicaland. So and I have 4 or 5 languages that I speak. So I did grow up on a farm, and I'm a total farm life girl. A lot of people say, yeah, ghetto. You have to bath. And my mom always used to give me the 3rd degree about being dirty and playing a lot. So I went to school in Mutare, firstly in Chipinge, then Mutare, and majority of my high school, I went to Bonda, then I went to AU. So I was schooled in Manicaland. And then when I was at college, I got pregnant, and I had my son, Tawanda. Tanayamdiwa Tawanda, turns 20 next week.
Wow.
Yes. So in a nutshell, that's who I am, my quick background of who I am. My mom is late now, absolutely gorgeous woman. She taught me all the style I have. I always say, that's where my beauty comes from, because I think Anachiera just poised and gorgeous. And my mom was a true definition of that. My father is a farmer. So, yeah, that's who my background is. I didn't grow up in Harare or in the smart streets. I went to boarding when I was 5 years old. Yes.
Wow.
So I've been trying to survive all my life. And when my dad left me in primary school, he said I was so tiny, but I was so excited to stay. And Kuchipinge primary, those days, the Kwampitini Matanga, the dissident. So like, if there was a call that there's something going on, would go into bunkers and I had so much fun. But yeah, that's me as a person, a quick background, yeah.
Wow, there's a lot now for us to unpack.
I know.
There's a lot for us to unpack. So I'm going to start with your childhood.
Right.
When you said you grew up on a farm, you're a middle child.
Yes.
And you went for like 5.
Yes.
Talk to me about that experience. How has that experience, I think, maybe created who you are, or has it impacted on who you are today?
I think, my parents, because we grew up on a farm, then it was Adamito Sabri, and it was very hot, lots of mosquitoes. I also had cerebral malaria. We can talk about that later. So when people say wakambo paying under So my father wanted us to have a good education, and farm schools at that particular point didn't have what my father had envisioned for us. So his only option was to send us off to boarding school. So none of us, the 3 of us, were spared from boarding school. Only I went the youngest. I was 5. And it taught me survival, because back then bullying was a real thing. And, you wipe your 5 cents to my ears. Someone about, my nigga balls. As did I change young? And you're like, change, yay, papi, change, yay. So it also taught me that I need to learn how to outsmart, influence, and survive. And because I was also tiny, I could easily slip away. But my biggest problem, I talk too much.
Always been a talker.
I don't have a report I took home that didn't say talkative. Until, of course, in high school, and we'll talk about what happened then. But it was always tender as talkative, and my father expected it to be written. Do you know, I was so hectic. There's one time my father, like, something had happened in the house, and I was crying. And usually kids are not auntie. And yours truly looked for her shoes. Going, I took my shoes to go outside and cry. And it was in the middle of the night. And in Chipinge, there are snakes, there are all sorts of things. I didn't care. You told me to go outside and cry. I'm going to have my day with tears. So I went outside. So I learned to spread my bed, to bath myself, to take care of myself, to realize that no one else was coming except me. I had to make sure I had done what I was doing. So I think that's where strength came from, to just know that if I don't do it, no one is going to do it for me. And if I don't do it, I'm going to get into trouble. So I just learned that, listen, you want to eat, make sure you get to the dining hall in time. If you don't want to get your socks missing, either it was one of those survival. It was survival of the fittest, especially as tiny as I was. Yes, I was once tiny.
Yeah. I like to say, I was once tiny. And so, because you were so young and you're a middle child and you went to boarding school.
Yeah.
And obviously it shaped you to become what gave you strength and everything. But during that time,
right,
what were your thoughts about the parents?
None.
Really?
Because, Nyenge, when you are at school, there are other kids your age. There's so much going on and so much happening. I think I only thought of my parents. When my tuck had run out, I knew I need to pick up. Somebody, of course, had bullied me and I was in tears. But majority of the time, you're so absorbed. I think without me knowing it, I was always present where I was. I just was at school. And when time or it was for me to go home, I'd be excited to go home and then I'll be at home. So I had no ill thoughts towards my parents or think they abandoned me like some people think. No, I just thought, okay, so this is where I am. I'm going to experience this and I'm going to have as much fun as I could. I think that was what's going on in my 5-year-old head. But I don't remember um, any anything else except just being at school and remembering my teacher and learning. I didn't have any anger towards my parents. Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I find that a lot of people will say they went to school when they were very young. They have a lot of like resentment, and some of them say they didn't learn. So it's still so good that you got some life skills and that you've carried into adulthood. Moving on to that, you then went to high school and you were still a boarder.
Yes, I went to Bond.
And how did that shape?
Now that was a whole different ballgame, because when I left Tiping, I went to Chancellor Primary, which is a Motare. Then I went to Bonda, and Bonda, a mission school. It's a mission school. Like, everything you do there is done by a student. Well, back then, I don't know now. And but I had advantage. I had 7 years advantage of boarding school. So when I arrived, those who were arriving in boarding school the first time were more flustered, and we were all like, "Hey, welcome to boarding school." You know what I mean? But there was still bullying was still there. But it wasn't for me. I would outsmart them, and also my sister was there in Form 3, but she had her own life. Lucy was having too much fun in her own world. But I was holding my own. I got there and it was all girls though, which was different because I was coming from a co-ed primary school. So there was all girls. And
how was that? Because I went to an all girls high school, but I mean, I only went to high school. I only went to boarding when I was in high school. It was an all girls.
So you went through what a lot of these young women went through, like, they abandoned me, take me back home. Is that what happened to you?
Not really, actually.
See, you're like,
I didn't being the firstborn, and also because when I was at home, I used to do all the. My mom would do the work, even though Sister was there. She would make me work. So going to boarding school was fun. It was kind of like running away.
I was like, yes, but
so I loved it, and I went to girls' college, which was nice.
Excuse you. So come on. Girls' college was like where I wanted to go for A levels, but we could talk about that. My dad shut me down about that. So I don't know. Boarding was high school, all girls. At a mission school, it was just a lot of tantrums, a lot of gossip, a lot of backstabbing, because I was sporty. People would have picked up live. I even played for Manikal and basketball at one time. So I used to swim, but when I got to Bonda, it was a frog pond. So, so I did javelin, shot put. I also did basketball. So I was always never there. And also, you'd score the hot boys for my wrist brothers. So, it was just a lot. The girls are a lot. And everyone is on their period at a different time. So, yeah, it was, my goodness. And this one said this. And I think for me, high school had the most, that feeling where your heart drops. I think high school gave me a lot of that because when ones, ndi croaky, then croaky.
Why were you going croaky?
Got away, crocodile. Croaky and and then I'm like, and then people gang up on you and then all sorts of things. So although I held my own, but high school was just, it was a drag.
It was a drag.
Yeah, my Form 1 to 4, I made some friendships that I still have to this day, but a part of me was just like, it was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Do you think it's in any way shaped the way you relate to women now, or it changed the way you relate to women now? That experience being in an all-girls school.
I think I was always brought up to be a feminist, which is what I am. But mine is not disruptive, nor am I apologizing for anyone who's being disruptive in terms of bending bras and stuff. Mine is for equal access to resources. I think everybody should have equal access and equal footing to any race. But I realized that girls are smart and they can outsmart each other. And when they are presented in a space where they need to shine, they will shine. There's no Bondo girl that I went to school with who's not in some either executive position, in some high ranking in an NGO or running their own organization. And I think I learned that we also need to speak for each other. They're not all people who can speak for each other. But you see, I also was coming from a background where my father and mother didn't care if you're a girl or a boy. It was time for you to cook, you were cooking. If you were checking the car oil, you were checking. Because my father believed you can't go and get a learner's license without learning simple things like check your oil and water, change your video water.
Exactly.
So I realized that girls are not fragile, especially if you're at an all-girls school. But at the same time, there are those that are fragile. And it doesn't come from themselves. It also comes from their upbringing and what's going on at home. And then sometimes it comes and then they meet strong characters like some of us who went to school, in boarding school at 5. We're stronger characters. And, so yes, I realized that women are amazing and they can actually do whatever they put their mind to. I didn't until, of course, I left that bubble. That's when I said, because there's differences in access, but because at Bonda, we were equal. Sazandiruru, Chingwen Jojo, Juti ndi Jut. So I think it just made me more aware that women need us to either collaborate, partner, and not really compete. Yeah.
And then moving out of that only girl environment and then going to uni. How was that? Because first you were a co-ed, then you were in an all-girls.
Oh, then I did go to a high school that was co-ed.
Oh,
At Ilsa Independent College, it was still there. It disappeared. So I always wonder, when people ask me to go to school, I'm like, Ilsa, and then where is it? I checked down. But it was a co-ed, and it was believed to be a co-ed of all these renegades, people who were not accepted in any other school, whether it was girls' college, Peter House, Saints. So it had this.
Where was this school? I'm hearing
it was. Do you know where Tipperaries was? Opposite Tipsy.
That's where Ilsa College was.
Yeah. So I met like a lot of people, and that was my first time.
Lower 6 and upper 6.
And that was my first time in Harare. And I stayed with my aunt in Hua, and my aunt back then I thought she was cool, but she was just trying to teach me to survive. She'd leave me in the middle of town and then say, find your way to my office. And I would that's when I learned that asking gets you to places faster than trying to be smart and just do things. So just ask. I'm looking for the geological survey. They'll be like, oh, Apple, government building. And that's so. And also that's when I met the father of my child. So Harare was quite a lot and it was big and loud for a girl who was coming from mission school and a farm. Yeah, it was quite ginormous. Now I'm looking at it like, what the city do to me? It was so small. Then I went to college, but you see, when I was in high school, I was more scared and more trying to discover, to try and find my footing. And also, like I said, I wanted to go to girls' college, actually, because that's where food and nutrition was and all that. And my dad said it was too far because we stayed in Nyanga back then. And I bawled out because his rules were Form 1 to 4, you go to mission school. 5 and 6, you go to a private school of your choice. So I was like, let's go to girls' college. And he said no. And he said no to a lot of things to me. Maybe because I was following my sister who, she was at Hillcrest at that point and she was having the time of her life. And I think my dad thought, this one.
But I sent you to Bulawayo.
No. And then my sister went to the UK and I said, I also want to go to the UK. He goes, no, you'll go to Africa University. And yeah, but that was a ball because it was Pan-African. It was plenty of diversity. That's when I learned to put okra in my my stew, my beef stew, because I had a roommate from the DRC. I had a roommate from Zambia. She taught me some things that will remain.
Okay.
That won't remain. Wicked Wednesday from Z. And then I tried politics, student politics, and I was the first female in the country to have an executive position, which was Secretary General. But the Secretary General at Africa University sat on the Senate, so it was quite a powerful seat.
Wow.
So I tasted power, and while I was doing that, I was pregnant. There was so much going on with me, but I totally enjoyed Africa University. It made me realize that truly your network is your net worth. Now that I'm older, because the people I know from AU are like big people, and again, they also hold positions of power and influence right now. So college was fun. It was fun. I loved it a lot.
Tell me about being pregnant at college. And first of all, how your parents, what was their parents' response? How you handled it, how they then handled it, and then what you learned out of it, and what you would tell a younger you at the same age right now.
I abandoned writing a letter, a book called A Letter to My 20s, but we'll talk about that because I then wrote a letter to my son. But Yenge, when I was in love, my good God, I was madly, deeply, truly. He was very, very attentive, and he was not from my university. We had met when I was still in Harare church. So he would come every weekend, or I would go every weekend to Harare.
Did your parents know you were going to Harare?
My dad kind of knew. See, I have such a cool dad, eh? He would sometimes come and take us to club with my friends and say, "Do you have money? Let me take you out." Because he believed that it was time for us to experience life for ourselves, and decisions that we make are ours. But of course, that was just, when I got pregnant, I wanted to kill myself. I was
How old were you?
I was 20. I was ashamed. I was head of peer educators. I was teaching safe sex, and there I was. But listen, it was in the heat of the moment, and I could have taken the morning after. I did not. One of my friends, Vimbai, I can't find her. I've tried to look for her. She's the one who caught me. I had already taken pills, and what's unfortunate is Vimbai had experienced her mother dying in her face. So also having another best friend take their life was a bit much for her. So I attempted for my life. I failed.
You took tablets.
Yes, a lot of.
You were in your room.
Yes, I was already a Secretary General. I was in a position of power, and I think shame is what was coming on me. And the saddest part, Nyenge, is we make pregnancy seem like it's shameful. I would not do that to anyone who's 20 right now if they got pregnant. It was there. It was life. But I was afraid of my mom. I was afraid of my dad. And I was right, because my mother threw like a tantrum. And my dad also behaved in ways that I didn't even expect. He blamed my mom. There was some violence there. And I felt so like, who am I going to be? And then I didn't even know what that cheesy got, And my aunt just went and left me at this big house in Glenlaw, my late sister-in-law's house. My ex was he was okay with it, because I think by the time I discovered I was pregnant, we were fighting, and I think we were going to break up. So he was happy his girl was coming back. And then, obviously, you should get married. I didn't want. It probably affected my marriage later, because I didn't want, and he wanted to get married. And he, then I went on and I thought maybe I should have an abortion. Then I went to stay with my other sister. Her name is Chipo Chidenga. What that she is. And then my aunts are like, oh, don't look after someone who is pregnant. Da, da, da. And she was like, what's the big deal? It's my little sister. And then the one that tears go without me knowing.
So how did they tease you without you know? They just took
because I didn't know ndikutears because they all knew me anyway, like we were together. Because we're so in love, that's what I think. They all knew about this girlfriend that he had. So she knew me, but and the next time I was leaving that house, but nagarorwa shame. Oh, to this day in my family, the record is yeah, because people had to leave the lounge to Saturday being there. There were over 100 people who came for my rora on
your husband's side of
from my dad's side and my mom's side. My husband's side, there were about 15, but that's a lot of people. So, and my dad, because I was the first one to get married, not my older sister. Because he's such a family man, he unifies. So unwese angadano support. Sekuru Olga, that's what they call him. So everybody was there and happy. I was just blank, Yenge. I was like, am I getting married? I was still 20 and pregnant.
You're still very in love with him? Or
I still was. Like, I loved him. Like, he was a good man. We had our differences later, and I blame other things outside him as a person. So, yeah, I was just there. I got married, and then I moved into my father-in-law's house, but my father insisted she has to finish school. So I thank him for that. And he said he will pay the fees himself until I finish school. So that he didn't put the burden onto my in-laws. So I did go back. Actually, people at school didn't even notice I was pregnant because I was already a biggish girl by then. And I'm not December. And in Feb, I think I was back to school already. So some didn't even know I was pregnant. Some were shocked I had a baby. So yeah, that was hard though. Being pregnant and in college and trying to study and being in this heat. But I soldiered on. I think I actually had better grades when I got pregnant. I'm not saying everybody should get pregnant to get babies, but that was my situation. And
what do you think drove you to probably have better grades?
Because I knew I was carrying something that was going to depend on me. And I knew that I was given a second chance because a lot of other girls had dropped out from college. And I was also at a church university. So a lot of people would be kicked out. But my Gwaradzimba, may his soul rest in peace, said, this is an adult institution. Why do you kick out girls when they get pregnant? They're adults. They leave them to do their thing. They just can't give birth, yeah? But they have to be here. So I realized that I had to get the things done, right? And I still got back to my responsibility as Secretary General, all the speeches I went to and all, because African University teaches you to be a wholesome person, ability to speak in public, different languages, learn all those things and interact. So, and also now because I was Secretary General, I had more of those engagements. So it was hard. And then I had to leave my child. That was the hardest thing. And when I gave birth, my mom's sister then died. So my mom couldn't look after my child. So I had to give him to my ex's, my guru, because his mom was late. So yeah, it was a lot. And I needed to finish my university and pass because now I knew it was my only ticket to survival.
So when you left him, he was like, what, 2 months?
2 months.
How did that feel?
First of all,
Let me talk about when you gave birth. When you gave birth to him, how did you feel when you became a mother? And then how did it feel leaving him and going back to school?
You know, my life coach always says storytellers can't just do things simple. You have to have a dramatic something. And my childbirth was dramatic. I passed out. I passed out there to break the bed and, hang me and then suck him out because I was tired of pushing. And so I passed out because when I was going for scans, he kept turning. So I didn't know if I had a boy or a girl. I didn't know. So the dad saw him first. And by the time I woke up, and I was like, do I have a child? Because he wasn't anywhere near me. I thought my baby had died. And I was, then because no, he's in the nursery. And I don't know, he was so cute. My God, I had the cutest baby. Okay, every mother says that, but come on, mine was so cute. And I apologized to my mom. My mom was seated outside waiting for me to give birth. I said, Mom, I didn't understand all along when you said kushara kuno words. I am so sorry for all the drama I pulled because I saw fire. But it was beautiful. And then the naming was just hectic. Because I don't know why people think naming a child is so easy. So my sister, who I had stayed with Chipo, we allowed her to name the child. So she named him Nyengeterai. And then when Sekuru came on my ex's side, he just said in the Tawanda. So Tawanda is the one that because Rangaraya and Sekuru. But Nyengeterai is his first name and then Tawanda. So yeah, my Titi was what people. So my Titi actually, she's the innocent. Everybody used to call me my Titi. So it was hard then to separate from him because I wasn't breastfeeding anymore. The pain was excruciating, but I would make sure
at school.
Yes, I'd make sure every weekend my ex would come pick me up or go see the baby or bring me back. So it was hard. But I even graduated. I didn't even spoke at my graduation. It was 5 months when I then graduated. Yeah. So that was a crazy mothering journey. And I was 21 when I then graduated. So young. I was already 90 by then.
Wow. And what would you say to a younger you right now?
About that?
Someone going through the same thing right now. Like you said, you tried to commit suicide. What would you say to someone? Because I have a lot of young girls who do inbox me who are going through certain situations. They're 20 or 19 or they're uni. The parents have paid. I've got kids at uni now, 2 of them. So and they've paid and they are saying they don't know how to approach. They're stuck. What would you say to a younger?
The younger me, and this is the part where you plug in your book. The younger me, I told Tawanda in a letter to my son, I said, you need to build a strong support system. So the thing is, when you're 20, you're oblivious of what you have available. You have aunts, you have sisters, you have cousins, you have people. But because we're so super self-absorbed about life and having fun and going there and doing that, we don't invest in just going for 10 minutes to sit with Auntie Yenge, 10 minutes to sit with Auntie Soho, and just have a conversation with them. I would tell my younger self that I had a support system. My mother, even after all the disappointment, my mom, when then she came back, she was right there, taught me everything I know, loved my son like I don't know, but to forgive yourself. Because the thing why I wanted to commit suicide or all the things that I was doing was because I was being very hard on myself. Like, how could you? How would you face the world? And the world also is cruel. The world would be like, hey, I told you, I'm going to my bow and suck. But if you forgive yourself, say, it's okay, Nyenge. that you are here. It's okay, Soko. We are here, girl. And we are where we are because we tried to do something and have fun with it, and then we failed. But also to then have people you talk to say, Sis Chipo, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm experiencing. Because Sis Chipo also had her baby that young. And that's why for her, she wanted to protect me. She was mother henning me. So younger 20-year-old who's there, tell them that, especially if they do have people, if they have people who can listen to them, they should take time to actually just sit at their feet or with them and say, Auntie, this is what I'm going through. How do I walk through this particular journey? Yeah, that's what I would have told myself. Yeah.
And how did you get over that shame? You talked about shame.
Did I ever? I think I did. Nyenge, shame is terrible. It creeps up on you with silly different things. When then, for me, I then got married and things didn't work out with my husband. It got violent. And he met somebody else. He wanted to be somebody else. That was new shame. That I couldn't even keep my own. Or what was so wrong with me that... But it wasn't him. He was also young. He was 23 when Tawanda then came. So we were 20, then he was 23, you know. And that shame crept up again. There's this stupid cartoon on Netflix that, you know, I'm not going to recommend it, but when I watched it, there are these little demons that I hang around, and the demon of shame comes and hugs you and tells you, can you see you're not even worth loving? You're not pretty enough. You are not... Like, there's so much that came, and I was really struggling back then. I remember my dad had kicked me out and said, you know, ukabramba murume, then apana upon the gamramba ntenda kuisasa because they rowa. It was like really bad. So, and a part of me, I was even ashamed at misasa. I was ashamed at work. And then I took solitude at church. Oh my God, church. Oh, they're the worst people. They make you feel like you will never enter heaven because you were a single mother. And ungomira uvotarane their husband at church. Pamandistombo like that. Eh? I'm just talking to them. They make you feel no shame. You know, so it's there. But what kept me going was there were people still who spoke into my life. My mentor back then, Faith Ntabeni Bebe, amazing woman, made me realize that I can be the best version of myself, no matter what I decide to do. And, you know, she even the first go at TT outside my farm. So it's something that you then, at a point, you then say, do I still want to live a life like this? But you see, the difference with me, Yenge, I didn't go through life oblivious. I was taking opportunities as they can. Whatever opportunity that showed up for me, I wanted it to better myself, to make it myself available for my son, for my son to have a better life. And because this man was now leaving me and had decided to go with somebody else, I didn't know that I'd ever love again. I just thought, love is it's a lie, you know. I'm gonna go on with it. So that shame, it still does creep up a little by little. Even as you grow older, it still does creep up. It does come sometimes. It's you who has to decide. I can see you, shame. I know what you want. Yes.
You know how to identify.
I now know how to identify it. It comes with people. It comes with family. It comes with certain little things that happen. And especially like when I started gaining weight, I mean, the first one who would bring shame to me was my mom. She was like, "No, you're so beautiful. By the way, I am. Say you're so beautiful. But you lose weight." So that whole, oh my God, the shame of weight. So there are people who project their own insecurities onto you. They force you to take it because their shame makes they don't want to be by themselves. So they'll be like, "So Nyenge, come, let's be shameful together, but your shame is like this." So it even up to now, I can't say it's completely gone. I mean, one person, I moved, I told you, walks into the place I'm at, and they go, "What do you need this big house for?" They were throwing shame at me, like, "Shame on you, why do you need all this big space?" But now, because I'm grown, I said, "And why not? And why not? Why do I not deserve a big space? Why do you want me to be crammed in my size?" So a lot of young women, a lot of women have other women projecting shame to them. You can't have children. You have too many children. Why do you live where you live? Why are you like there's so many things that we overjudge ourselves and we project because you're shameful about something that you didn't deal with.
That projected on you.
Yes, and identify the thing that you could be insecure about and I magnify it. And those people, you see them, Nyenge, and you don't want to be around them. Like literally, someone arrives and you're like, ugh, that this is a projector. Yes, they're a projector. They come with lights and everything to just shine on something that you're already dealing with. So, and when I had the accident, I then decided to just stay away from people. Like completely. Like if you don't come and see me, I'm not going to look for you. If you don't invite me, I'm not going to go. If it's last minute, I'm not even going to be bothered. So by the time all these TikToks are coming, "Don't go where you're not invited," I'd already decided that. To say, I'm not a formal person. This is where I am. This is what's happening. And I'm going to be present. So I never got over, like you said, that I wanted to commit suicide or I was in a gender-based violence relationship or I got divorced. There are things that I can talk about now. But back then, people made me seem like I failed. But that doesn't define who you are. Events don't define who you are. It's how you get out of those particular situations that then you're like, this is okay. Let me go on.
But even what gave you the strength? Because I know, like, especially in African culture, if you're being beaten, I know a lot of women will stay because they just like and keep quiet, or how family will come and say, "Just stay for don't report, whatever." What gave you the courage, or who gave you the courage to do that? And because I think that would help someone else who's sitting there and thinking, I can't.
I'd love to give Faith and Tamini Baby a lot of flowers right now. She was my boss and my mentor. And she would see me broken, battered, bruised. And she'd tell me, is this the life that you want? Because you're not going to change a person today. A person will only change when they are ready to change or something compels them to change.
How old were you?
21. I was still 21. Remember, I just graduated.
Oh my
God. So I
God.
divorced within the time of my getting married because, he had met someone in the UK and I think he wanted to go. So, and maybe I was stopping him from, going. I don't know. I think he would answer for himself. But in our world, he made it seem like I am hindering him from something. And as if because I'm at college and he was doing UNISA, he maybe, I don't know, there's so many accusations that were flying about. And then, of course, I had this aunt who, then it would go. And my aunt said, cannot every 2 weeks. She would say, So I had a lot of voices from all over. Of course, my mom wanted me to stay. Marriage is hard in the first 2 years. It's everyone's anthem. But this guy who loved me, guys, he would show up with 100 pink roses with one red in the middle. When I was pregnant, he would find when honeydew was still there, he'd drive from Harare with those fresh cream things.
Donut.
So I didn't understand how
The change.
yes, this man who loved me like, my goodness. And now who was this guy?
Monster now.
I didn't recognize him. I didn't want to be around him. And then it also just so happened that his dad died during the time of our biggest turmoil. And I just ran away. I ran away. I went to Usasa, stayed there more than normal people should. My dad had said, "You can't come back home, stay there." My mother was also saying, so I stayed there until one day my mom said, "Listen, I'm going to steal things from your dad. So find someone to come with a truck and steal bed and his stove again broken." So because the governor I was when I ran away and then left Mrs. and I started staying at Megawatt Court, I had a rice cooker. I would cook my son's porridge in there. I would cook the meat and take it out and put the veggies and take it out, then cook sadza. And then it was horrible. I don't know how I survived. I had nothing in that flat. And I earned just enough to keep a roof over my head. And at the same time, my dad was like, he was falling in love with some other woman and didn't want to look after my brother. So where would my brother go? Because my mom had gone to the UK and he came and stayed with me. Oh God, it was horrible until mom came back a bit. That's when she stole things and, went back. It was really, really hard. Then I had terrible maids. Good God, I don't know why maids don't feel sorry for us. You'd come back and wana aripanze, you and don't want to jola or something. And I was young, 20, 21, 22 now. So it was hard, and I was told if you're going to leave your husband, it's going to be hard. And it was hard, but I was determined. I was determined to make it work. I was determined to send Tawa to the best schools. I was determined. I don't know.
Where was that determination coming from?
I don't know. It could be. Some people say it's the neurology. Like now that I'm older, and like, could it be because I'm 11 master number? I don't know. Or is it the 7, the number 7, the day we were born, or is it my bloodline that I'm a Sokwende? I don't know. But there was a part of me that told me if I stop, I will not start. So don't you dare stop. So even if I threw a pity party, I would do those heavy cries, then take a deep breath and go, right. So what am I supposed to do here? Because but like I said, I still had a strong support system. My support system didn't hand me things. They opened opportunities for me. And I always say this to young people, if an opportunity is given, I have done my part. I've given you an opportunity. Then go shine in that opportunity. Because I can't do everything for you. So my mentor opened a lot of doors for me. And a lot of spaces. And I met a lot of people. And of course, the church I was going to, although, also had a lot of influential people there. And that I did network and grow with. And some of my skills did grow. But I still have this thing in me to this day that tells me, Tende, if you stop, you will not start. So keep going. Because if you just stop, and I think that is who I am. Because Sofa has had a meltdown. Tell them that it's done. like a meltdown that everybody knows that, yeah, I think I would be done. Because I've had so many other that I just gather myself and I continue going.
What is this confidence you have? Because I remember you from the first day that I've met you, and from when I see you with all that you're saying, but when people are seeing you out there, you had this confidence. I remember the first time we met and you were, were looking for stuff for this organization, which had a women's thing going on. But just the way you carried yourself, you said something like, I didn't have time for the pity party. I'll just get up and do it. Where was like that confidence, Where did you?
My mom, may her soul rest in peace, and my dad, they did a good job. I think they did a good job because my father and mom never thought we couldn't do anything. You can actually fake that, like, Iwewe, where's your tata? Say. Or is it? I don't know, that I grew up on a farm and adventure was inevitable. I would lie to say I know where you find confidence. But it's in my head. It's in my head that I know when I walk in, I control the room. Whether it's because I'm so Kongish, because I'm big, or whether because it's just me. I've just walked into the room. Whether it's the crutches I'm walking with, or I don't know what it is, but I know the room will stop and say she has walked in. And I will not shy. I will smile and wave and be like, hello. And I will sit down. I don't know where it comes from. God, the universe, my ancestry, my bloodline. It comes from somewhere, but I can't pinpoint exactly where. But the decks aligned for me to end up where I am I think, because where else would you get it? But also, let me attest this. Reading is very important. Because my father had a bookshelf for days, treble yours, and he expected you to read. And I even told Tawanda in a letter to my son that reading takes you to places where your passport will never take you.
Exactly.
So I've never been to Europe. But sit here with people talking about France or Germany or Netherlands.
Yeah.
I will tell you as if I was there because I read so much. Information and knowledge make you confident. The reason why a lot of people shy away from situations is because they arrive at places unprepared for what they're going for. So if it's a conference, whether it's for whatever it is, at least read something about whatever that conference is about. You're not going to know everything, but show up with knowledge. If you're going to meet Nyenge, come on, research a bit about them so that confidence comes with knowledge. Because you have this little, I know what they're talking about. Because a lot of people shy away and cram into little spaces because they know nothing, like Jon Snow. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So when the conversation starts firing, what are you going to say? So read. My dad said, old news can.
Even an old magazine.
Yes, read. You will learn something. You will hear something. You be something. So I've been to the US. Like, of course, I've been to the US, but Europe, I have never been. But my people are talking about, so what's the, which part of the UK have you been to? Like, no. And then I also live vicariously through my friends. When they travel, I want to hear the detail. So read, Nyenge.
No, reading is very...
Read, watch, be present, be aware, be absolutely curious. That is my biggest law. I use the law of curiosity. I am curious about what is going on. And you see, even how I ended up in the whole media space and then being in broadcasting, it was curiosity. I was just curious. Like, are you sure I can't do that? And I try to pass it on to my son, to be curious to think he can do whatever he puts his mind to. My friends call me a champion's whisperer because I see a champion in people. And everybody has the potential. But you see, humans are innately lazy.
Yeah.
And they don't like to be challenged. They would rather be belittled than challenged. If I come and say, Nyenge, oh my God, you're doing so well in this space. Guess what you do? You, on your own, belittle yourself and go, but in it, I saw the champion in you. I whispered to that, and it even jumps. When I tell you, you did so well, you recognize it, but you think you're undeserving. So then you just reduce yourself. And I can't take you out of that reduction.
I've actually found that a lot especially with women.
Right.
Whether you tell them that they look amazing or they finish presenting and they say, oh yeah, that presentation was good. They will want to say, oh no, but I
take your flowers, Nyenge.
Yeah.
Take them. And I think that's where also, because I believe in banking love and banking compliments. If you tell me, Tendai, well done, I'm going to bank it. Because there will be a day, Nyenge, I will totally miss it. But I will remember. I'll be like, but Pepe and Gamboro and these are nasty. But we don't like to be kind to ourselves. And I'm not saying I'm totally kind to myself. Sometimes, oh my goodness, my niece who I stay with, Tanaka, will tell you the times I think the second time I dislocated, I had a hip surgery recently. I dislocated because I was trying to pick a charger. And I was like, I'm so stupid. But I wasn't saying I'm stupid, really. I was just saying, this is so expensive. Like,
no, I hear you.
You know what I mean? But I do also sometimes am hard on myself. But at the end of the day, you should surround yourself again with fellow champion whisperers who would tell you, Tendai, it's just a phase. You're going through just a little bit. It's okay. And like I say, I joke a lot and say, Mugavram dictionary, strength by my name is right there. As in, this is the standard of strength. I mean, staying in a hospital for a whole year.
Yeah, let's go there. I actually wanted to go there. Your accident, how it happened and how it changed you and how it's changed you.
My God, yeah. I know I promised you 2 parts, didn't I? It was a normal day. I was tired coming from work. Asked a friend to drive because I was tired. Somebody coming from Teeny Wolf, I will find them one day. I will. Didn't check the road. And there was a car coming from Cheesy that came straight into us. Now, I encourage everybody to wear a seatbelt. I wasn't wearing one.
Oh, no.
So, when they say when you have a car crash, it happens super slow? No, it's a lie. It happens super fast. What happens super slow is you're rescuing. But things will be happening very fast. But because you're in so much pain, you think everyone is on slow motion. And I was awake. Because it's me. I can't be unconscious because I'm a storyteller. Remember? I have to tell my story. It changed a lot about me. It changed me from Christianity even to I'm now a more spiritual person who believes in our universe and our African tradition. And it was because of the things I went through during this accident. I saw monkeys. I saw my mother who had died earlier that year. It was really traumatic when my mother died because she went to India. She had 12 pints of blood trying to be put in a system. They couldn't see where the blood was going. I couldn't go with her. I started a new job at ZTN. I was like, it was a traumatic year. So I could see my mom coming to pick me up. I saw baboons. I had an epiphany, literally. But I was right there thinking, why didn't I die? Again, listen, I've had near misses too many times. I'm like, why did I not die? And I was folded in half, so I broke both my legs. This one broke my right hand and leg, broke right in the middle, the femur. the left femur broke into 5 parts, the 6th being the neck of the femur, and I also broke my hand. So I was looking like Humpty Dumpty, giving people instructions of how to handle me, by the way, in this pain. And even told them, bring 2 ambulances because we can't see. So my friend had gotten her knee cap open. So she had more blood. So when the ambulance came, they thought she was the most injured. So she got the one with the painkiller and she was whisked away. I got the one without because I had no blood, but I had broken the most severe bones. I lived a moment at a time. I don't know how to tell you this. I was just present. Tried to call my brother. He had changed his line. Tried to call my sister. She doesn't answer calls. She doesn't know after 10. My dad had been robbed that day in town. Guess what? My best friend, Colleen, I had shouted at her that why do you have a non-sequential number? Why don't you have a sequential number like mine? How do you expect me when I have an accident to remember this number?
Oh my God.
It was on Wednesday when I said that to her. And then I crashed on a Friday.
2 days later.
Yes, and guess what we were doing on the call? Repeating her phone
number.
So I was preparing for my own accident. So I then called her. And of course, I mean, she saved my life 9 times over. Then I was told I needed surgery, went into ICU, was in a coma for about 2 weeks. I had things going on there. Had my New Year's crossover from 2018 to 2019 in the avenues. Then I was supposed to go to rehabilitate somewhere. So initially I was supposed to be flown to NASA in Bulawayo, beautiful facility, my good God. But my bones were too broken to be airlifted. And then this little home, I could never thank them enough. It's called airwaves. Old people's home. But I was so broken as good as aged. And when Matron Howard came to see me, she says, I've never had a young person. And also, I was the young black girl. And this size. So she thought I was a lazy girl. But she hadn't seen me in action with pride, because I was emceeing weddings. Remember, I was Zimbabwe's #1 MC. I just, give these girls a chance and these guys. But, I had that throne for once. So she then says, okay, can you turn? I turned. I did all sorts. Okay, we'll take you. And then I went to this old people's home, filled with people with dementia, going through a whole lot of things. People would come into my room and ask me if they saw their cat, but no one has a cat, really. Or one would be talking to the fish pond, reading them a Bible. So a part of me thought I was insane because that is where I was. But Nyenge, if you visited me, you'll be the one coming back with strength. Because I would encourage you, I would talk to you, I would laugh. And I couldn't move for 6 months. I was looking up like a corpse. And that's where I wrote my book with one broken arm. This was the free arm. So I literally handwrote the book. So I had these too many journals I'd just write. So I thought, if I died, I hadn't told my son a lot of things. So I started writing a letter to my son, literally. Then a friend of mine wrote, well, at an Angoni, can't see me from Laos. And says, oh, what is all this? Takes one and goes, So he goes through my letter to Tower. And he goes, puts it in the inside of his jacket and says, the next time you see this, it will be a book. I said, what do you mean? Did I just write a book? He said, yes. My God, the knowledge that you've written in this book, even I should know about it. And then when he then emailed me, I didn't know I'd written 41 lessons for life and success. So I also then, like the true Tenai that I am, I didn't wallow. I didn't say, woe is me. I wrote a book in hospital while others would have, would have done whatever they're doing. But in the same space, I was growing and learning about myself. And that's when I got to learn that I don't have FOMO. I have no fear of missing out. I do. Like, if you don't invite me, don't bother. If you come back and say, I'm like, wow. Nice. Even because I've said it with Pandiri Ninga, Panado fire. And you got me rid of one fire, say, fire. So that whole experience, Nyenge, was bad. Oh, when I heard that, because when I got to the avenues, I was almost amputated, my left leg. And I was like, one leg. But I would rock that one leg, you know me. But it then didn't happen. And then I was told it was going to take me a lot of years. The accident happened on the 21st of December. So my 5th year anniversary is,
2 weeks.
yes. So I was told it's going to take 5+ years for me to recover also because of my weight and all that. And I said, okay. And in these 5 years, Nyenge, I have changed the game for myself, not in competition with anyone. I'm only in competition with my last best performance. So when people come and say, oh, I'm comparing you to so-and-so, you do that. I'm just comparing like Usain Bolt, his last personal best. And if my last personal best was to move from here to there, that's all I do. And of course, I'm misunderstood. Oh, Nyenge, I'm so misunderstood because I'm not also a typical girl, you know? We can't even talk about love after this. Like, but anyway, I did physio. I had multiple surgeries to fix me. Sometimes it was, not as successful as the other. Then I have to go again and fix it. And in the meantime, I was being told now I was 48% disabled. And in competition, or not in competition, in a space that I'm operating with people who are 100. Not that I want your pity, but some people they forget. Tendai actually struggles to walk and she struggles to get up the stairs. I remember one person said to me, I get there and I'm like, the meeting is upstairs. I can't go upstairs. They're like, so what do you want us to do? I'm like, do you want to meet me though? They said yes. And I said, can you make it comfortable for me? Because I can't get up the stairs. But people, because I was there before, people who are like you are so privileged. You've got ability privilege. If I say, Nyenge, I can't attend your event because it's not disability friendly, you think I rejected you. But you're not thinking of how much in pain I would have to experience for me to show up to your event. Not because I don't support you,
but because of I've actually realized something about Zim, because I had an opportunity to work with people with disabled. Well, one lady, I needed her on my team. Mm-hmm. That's when I realized that this country, like literally to get her into the office, to get her bathroom alone, was just...
And people act like I'm an inconvenience. Yeah. Like, my God, this one school, I'm going to protect them though. But I decided to study again because I'm not going to stop, right? And they take us to where they conveniently put the ladies' bathrooms upstairs and the boys' bathrooms downstairs. And then I'm like, I can't attend the class because the toilet is my human right. They're like, you're just one person. They didn't know what they were dealing with, they didn't know. But why are we as a people so self-absorbed that I, in my condition, am inconveniencing you? I didn't apply for this. It happened. And do you know what I do most of the time? When I'm leaving, I'm like, I hope all of you break your legs. So we all have a country that's functional. And people are like, oh, how could you say that? I'm like, no, I'm saying that because you didn't care that I was coming. Like, so but you're excluding me because you just didn't want to include me because of the new condition that I am in. And I did, like, even banks, like everywhere. Yeah, you get to an elevator. I can't stand for long. I still can't stand for long. So you request for somewhere to sit. You see some people rolling their eyes like, so what am I supposed to do? I just had a hip replaced. I'm trying to even just be here.
I think people are very judgmental, and I think Because they're looking at you, they're not thinking, and people don't, like you were saying that people don't take time to be compassionate and to understand that,
No,
yeah,
they don't. And then they're also mad at you that you're doing well in your condition.
Because they expect you to be throwing a pity party
And depressed. And why am I putting on lipstick and looking good and on Yenge's show? Like, why? But I'm that girl who has decided that I'm not going to stop. Because if I then stop, I'm not going to start again. And even like the work, there's another workplace of mine that, good God, could not even just fix a bathroom for me to access on the floor that I was on. And every time I mentioned it, people rolled their eyes with this whole, she thinks she's special. But I'm not thinking I'm special. Or the elevator dies and nobody cares to fix it. And then I can't come up. And I was Huda, she's just retaliating. Ayewa, nditolina kumbaka chikoka. And then ndikutorwadziwa. And ndikasvika meeting macho ndichagomera. And then you think I'm ignoring you, but I'm still nursing the pain. It's like
going up.
That is why then I wish everybody just gets their legs broken. So that we all are at par. And so it's a lot. And I have this niece of mine who I stay with, Tana. I want to give her flowers. She literally, even when she goes out, she goes, Tete, are you going to be okay? Are you going to be able to move from
one room to another?
Yes.
Do stuff?
Are you going to be able to do this and that? Or even like when you invite me and you say it's one invite only, and I'll be like, I'm coming with a +1. Because if it's a buffet, how do I crutch and carry plates?
Carry your plate,
Because you'll be too busy to look after me. So allow me to bring someone to look after me. And people act like, oh, she thinks she's special. She needs to bring an aide. I do need to bring an aide. So that you also don't feel inconvenienced. And I am not inconvenienced. But the thing with life is it was a normal day. I was coming from work, going home, and I broke my legs.
Your whole life changed.
My whole life, trajectory, access, everything changed. Even my banking. I had to upgrade my banking because as an ordinary banker, it was even harder. But when I changed my bank, I had better treatment and access. Although that's not fair. You just get better treatment and access if you're in the disabled community. I just want Zimbabwe to start building homes. I always look at these 2-story homes that you guys build. And I'm like, you're going to get old. You can have an accident and break your legs. How are you going to go to an ensuite upstairs? I'm not saying you should all build flats. Yes, please, by all means build up. But then make it disability friendly. Because you fail to enjoy your home one day over anything could happen to you. And, I haven't seen my son in 5 years because he left for Australia. He left in January for Australia. My mother died in February. Then I had a car accident in December. So 2018 was just a terrible year. And I can't wait to see my son. But at the same time, I'm worried was when he left a beast of a mom. He left a woman who could do anything and everything. I still can. But this time I need help. And I need you to be more considerate and to be more patient with me. And sometimes my frustration and anger comes from that, the misunderstood part. Like, I can't sit on certain chairs. You're like, your chair is too low. But replacement. So it's one of those things, Nyenge, that life, everybody's going through things. But when people see me, obviously, they just think I'm superhuman. And, she's just sick.
Well, let's get on with it.
Yeah. But I get home and I'm like, whew, what a day. Then I play it back. Okay, I could have done that better. That one could have treated me better. that one I'm not dealing with anymore. So the next time someone calls me and says, I'm like, sorry, I'm not available. It's not because I really am not available, but I don't want to put myself in the same space as you again because you're intoxicating to my space. I could be intoxicating myself too. And sometimes we think other people are toxic when you're toxic. But some toxicity is deliberate, then other toxicity is not. So if I, let's say, get to here, and let's say your assistant just did things, and then you come and say, "Ted, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh no, this chair's too low." Then you say something to your assistant. Your assistant might think I'm toxic, but I was just trying to make me comfortable, so everyone is comfortable. So sometimes I'm quick to introspect to say, was she really toxic, or nditorine zvangu zvazoti nditi ndinge ari toxic? In actual fact, ndine zvangu zvandiri kudhila nazvo. Because as a people, we're very entitled. We think this is what I should get, and this is, even I ndotombofona way in advance. Hi, can I book dinner for disability friendly? Your toilets is vanotenga kuti yes. Ndazosvika kurestaurant kwacho ndobva ndati but mati vakuti ngeinini ndini drama queen, but ndafona ndikacheka, which you could have told me, ma'am, these facilities are not available, ndobva ndaenda elsewhere. But ivo vanotomirira kuti ndisvike oti but my toilets haasi kugona kusumuka off the toilet, ma'am, that is what is there, but ndambokufonera ndikatovhunza. So I think as a people, Zimbabweans are known to be very loving and kind people. I know the economy and whatever is going on in this country has made people a little bit more cynical and hard. But I wish they would find it in themselves to get that back.
Yeah.
You know? So we have a love for each other. Like now I'm writing the second book, for my son, Adulting 101, because he's now an adult. And my first lesson in Adulting 101 is get a good bed. After a long day and all that drama, we don't go to the bed. Like you just want to have a good night's sleep. And I wish that for everybody. So, I don't know, my accident just made me realize that I still can do it. I will do it. I really I want to consult more on disability for people because it's the most ignored. People are not used to having a professional who is disabled. Or banks, like a lot of people that give you executives, you and I, like executives, access are not used to being somebody who's either blind, deaf, or with some condition or the other that makes them disabled. So I want to advocate for that more. And even when you're building your homes, even tezo tendero fungo to access and those apa papindiki wang but you were with that space what because pachadazo pinda wheelchair in magorega. So when that is away, we are oblivious, and then when things happen to us, we're like, whoa, who is us? I knew what I wanted. I wanted a flat house, no stairs. I wanted, isina zvakawanda, and people thought, yeah, hausikuwanza zvekuita, it's our favorite life, hausikuwanza zvekuita. No, but ndindichagaramo, ndichabhadhara rent, so I might as well be comfortable.
Yeah.
And until I build my own that is to my specification, at least I am in control of finding whatever, comfortable for me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. There's just so much.
I told you. I said,
we have to come back and have to do a part two because I still want to unpack issue Christianity and spirituality.
I love.
I want to unpack that because I think that will take us another hour or so because there's so many things I want to unpack. I want to unpack that. I want to unpack you being away with your son and how you anticipation, and him now coming now and you're a whole totally different person. Obviously, there are a lot of things that have happened. And I just need that. I need to unpack that separately. But for today, I want you to give me a few I know you've given me quite a few life lessons throughout, but I just want you to give me, from the accident specifically, what were the life lessons that you learned that you want to give to people out there, that someone can learn from, just 5 key lessons.
Wow, 5. Okay, let's start with the first lesson I learned. Like I said, one of the biggest lessons I always have is forgiveness. It took me a while to forgive my friend who was driving, but I eventually did. And I also then forgave myself because I kept saying, I wish I was the one driving. And then probably I'd have saved all this. So forgiveness is a present, continuous thing you need to do for yourself and for the people you care about. That's the first thing I learned. Second thing I learned, and I still stand by, is a strong support system. If I didn't have that, if my dad didn't come and see me as often as he did, and my friends and my sister and my brother and all these people who didn't come and remind me that I can, I will, and I must, I would have never, ever gotten off that bed. So build a strong support system for yourself. There's a saying, blood is thicker than water. It's actually the blood of the covenant is thicker than the waters of the womb. Meaning the people you build around yourself are stronger than those that you're born with. But also choose the people you were born with to be part of your blood that you choose. So that's another lesson. Strengthen your relationships. If they are broken, reach out and mend them. The third thing is try something new that will make you a better person. I tried. I was a Salvation Armist for a year. I learned the tambourine while I was in bed. But I also learned that a nurse aide is as important as a doctor. So never, ever, that's the fourth lesson, think that this person is less important. Because after my doctor had cut me and done all that, I was stuck with my nurse aide. She's the one who had to make sure I was bathed, I was cleaned, I'm wiped, I don't have bed sores. She was my lifeline. But when we bump into nurse aides on the road, we treat them like nobodies. Trust me, one day that person will be your lifeline. And then the fifth thing, what can I say? Read. I read 32 books that year. And some of the things I'm using now, I read them. And of course, I watched Game of Thrones while I was in hospital. But read. And the one thing I should let you know is my sister and I, when we were fighting when I was in hospital, she was in Triangle and I was in I would write letters. Handwritten letters because I didn't want a phone. By the way, I didn't have a phone for 6 months. I refused a phone, a TV, a radio. I wanted to be alone with my thoughts. So, yeah. Those are some of the lessons. The 5. I think I learned more actually, but those are the 5 that I would.
When we do part 2, we need to unpack a lot of things and some lessons too. What's your favorite color and why?
Hey, do you know it used to be red? And then things went south with red. My favorite color now, my favorite flower is yellow. Is the sunflower.
I love the sunflowers.
So I guess yellow.
Yeah.
It's like that lots of yellow in here, you know?
I'm maybe going to ask you what your favorite animal is because I already know.
It's a monkey. Yeah. But I would have a scorpion tattoo if I could. Yes, because I'm a scorpion. Yeah, I like the monkey. I think it's such a
fun.
Oh my God, it's a profound animal. I love it.
Like my lion.
Yeah. The monkey. Every part of a monkey. Whatever. Gorilla. I love that family line. That's my favorite animal.
Oh, wow. What are you reading currently?
Right now, nothing. Wow, that's weird. I got books as gifts, but a friend of mine promised me a book called Wealth and Power. It's actually in this neighborhood, so I might as well get it on my way out. That'll be the book I'm reading this festive season.
What's the best movie you've watched of all time?
Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. My life coach, shout out to Sokostina the made me watch it 3 times. Whoa, it taught me the power of planting an idea. No one can stop you. Inception and Matilda. Not the new one. The old one.
The original one. I know we watched that so many times with my daughter. If you were to give an advice to a 21-year-old right now, what is the one thing you would make sure that you impart to them?
Choice. That life is about choice. You choose how this thing goes down. You're not a victim, even though I didn't tell you my story about being raped when I was 16. Even though you are a victim, you still have a choice of how this will go down. The thing about then, what choice do I have, determines with your exposure. What are you reading? Who are your friends? What are you watching? What is available to you? But if that is not there, then you think that is the only way we should go. So choice is what I would want every 21-year-old to know, that they have a choice. They just have to decide what choice looks like to them.
Choice looks like. Wow. That's so impactful. We're packing our bags.
Yes.
We're going to the airport. Where are we flying?
Maldives. We're going to Maldives. Oh my God. Yes, we're going to Maldives or Bali. But I get my energy water settings. I know you're a Cancer. You're not
Gemini.
Yeah, Gemini. Okay. Is this okay? What do you think?
I'm a Gemini.
Okay, yeah, June baby.
I'm June baby.
Okay, so yes, anywhere where there's water. But I've always wanted to go to the Maldives. I would really want to go there. But then again, this is a girl who's never been to Europe.
Yeah.
So take me anywhere to Europe. If it's free and you're paying, I'm going.
You're going.
Yes.
No, that's fantastic. You know what? I wish I could just sit for another hour with you.
I know.
We have to do this. We have now, as you were giving advice, you now told me about something else that we need to now unpack. And we need, because I know it's going to help someone else. So for today, I just want to say to our viewers, we're coming back. We're going to do a part 2. We have to, because I truly believe that we learn from other people. Sometimes we heal our own trauma.
Absolutely.
By listening to what other people have gone to and how they've gotten through it. And that's the one thing that Moments is about. And I believe that sometimes telling people that just do this, it's easier when you hear someone who's gone through it and they've overcome.
True.
And truly, I thank you for taking time out to talk to me, to talk to our guests, to impart all this knowledge that you've given us today and the lessons. And geez, I've learned a lot as well.
Thank you.
And I've actually healed some things that I was like, okay, you know, and I really am so grateful.
I'm grateful
that you took time out.
I'm glad that day I did not have an attitude. Sometimes we meet people and we judge each other and we miss out. And listen, I'd have missed out on you too.
Thank you so much. Thank you and have a fantastic day.
Thank you, likewise.
And viewers, have a fantastic day and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week.